Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's springtime, it's time to come out of hibernation and start making some new content. Admin just released his Gordon Carbine video, so I thought I would do mine. Not to mention, today the celestial bodies are doing the big sky thing. Well, the eclipse was neat and all, and I tried to get some good footage, shooting under night vision just like every other goober with nods on the internet probably just did. But sometimes being a father takes precedence. A lot of you probably built a Gordon Carbine similar to this, and now you have this optic that's a million miles above your bore axis. So what I want to talk about today is how to actually zero one of these things. With this, you have, probably an aim point comp M2 or something similar to it that's 3.75 inches roughly above your bore axis. So the center of the scope to your barrel, basically, or the center of your barrel. So playing around with shooter's calculator, this is a 12.5-inch barrel, and I primarily run 55 grain because I'm poor. So with that ammunition and barrel, that puts me at about 2,900 feet per second. Okay, so with a optic 3 3/4 inches above bore axis plus 2,900 feet per second and 55 grain projectiles, I've determined that a 60-yard zero is probably the best thing you can do with an optic this high. Okay, now this is a comp M2, so I have a 4 MOA dot. It's going to be kind of hard to zero at 60 yards. So what I determined is if I make a perfect tight little group at 25 yards, 2 inches below point of aim, that will give me a 60-yard zero. So what's the point of that? Why did I go with 60 yards for a zero? We have to talk about trajectory, or basically in its simplest terms, your barrel is down here, your scope is up here. Bullet go up, and then bullet go down. So with a 60-yard zero on this platform, I know that my bullet is going to go 2.5 inches high at the highest point at 150 yards, and then at 300 yards, it'll be roughly 2.5 inches low. Okay, so from the muzzle to 300 yards, we're talking a variation of that much. Basically, wherever your dot is on, we'll say, a human bad guy sized target, wherever the dot is, your bullet's going to go where it needs to. When Eugene Stoner designed the M16, he was an aerospace engineer going into the firearms industry, and he was kind of a fresh set of eyes on scene. His intention for the M16 was to make a stupid-proof conscript grade rifle. So you can hand it to any dum-dum fresh out of high school, get the rifle zeroed, and then you just forget it. You don't touch that zero ever again. Because that 36-yard zero I talked about in a previous video, with that 36-yard zero on iron sights, everything from the muzzle to 300 yards is all inside of like 2 inches. So if you point your gun at a bad guy anywhere from bad breath to 300 yards, you'll hit it. That's the idea behind these types of zeros. So naturally, for the iron sights on this rifle, I also did 36 yards because that also puts me at point of aim, point of impact for 300 yards. So like in terms of convenience, I got this little 8-inch plate over there. I just put the dot on the plate, pulled the trigger, I got a ping. To wrap up this video, I'm gonna go over the main points again. With your Gordon Carbine, using an aim point comp M2, 12.5-inch barrel, you want a 60-yard zero on the optic. That means pacing out 25 yards to your target and making a perfect group 2 inches low from point of aim. 36-yard zero on your iron sights. And I know some folks are going to be asking about it in the comments, so I guess I'll just go over the build really quick. For starters, this is an OCM5 from Otter Creek Labs. Super quiet, highly recommend it. Also, that is an Otter Creek Labs flash hider. The collar I machined myself. I just bought this 3/4 inch collar off of Amazon, and I did some magic with the milling machine. This is a Surefire M300V. It does white light, infrared, and then it has an offsetting. And then for this mount here, this is the GG&G sling thing. So rail on one side, sling on the other. Also, I trimmed off the excess rail forward of the front sight post. This is a Roscoe Manufacturing 12.5-inch barrel that I got from TNTE Sales. The C7 upper, I stole this off of a DPMS that was on the shelf for super cheap. It checks the box, so hooray for that. This is an Aimpoint Comp M2, Vortex 30mm low mount, Bushmaster lower receiver, Geisley G2S, and it's got an H2 buffer in there. Could probably do H3 with this suppressor on the end of it. The stock, I think the stock is B5. I don't remember. I got the butt pad from Brownells, and the sling is from Hub City Outdoors. It's made with Alice hardware. It's pretty slick. It's not as soft as like the USGI Canteen slings, but I dig it. It adjusts quickly, and that's what I mostly care about. But there you have it. Super quiet, no hearing protection required. A full range day might actually get your ears ringing though.